welcome to my video where I talk about and share with you how exactly I discovered this unique gift of mine of being a dream oracle. So if you're curious to know, stay tuned because I share that with you in this video. Since I was a little girl, I was obsessed with my dreams. I always remembered my dreams every night, and I just wondered, like, what the heck am I doing if I'm spending a good portion of my life asleep and I go on all these crazy adventures in different worlds and have all these different experiences? What do they mean? They obviously mean something. And then as I got older, I started learning about dream interpretation. And sometimes they didn't make sense and sometimes they did. But for the most part, those dream dictionaries and dream interpretations felt a little generic to me, and I just knew that there was something deeper. So fast forward to late teens, early 20s, that is actually when I started lucid dreaming. And I literally started lucid dreaming after somebody told me what lucid dreaming was, and my ears perked up and I was like, what is lucid dreaming? And I started lucid dreaming because I don't even know, the concept came to me, and I guess I was a natural at lucid dreaming and lucked out that way. I still knew that there was something deeper in my dreams that I was missing. And then it was in my mid to early 30s that I started working with a specific spiritual teacher, and she did this thing called night school. So I would have a session with her, and she told me a few days before and a few days after our actual session, I do night school with you in the dream world. And she's like, don't worry about it. You're probably not gonna remember. So just know that I do this night school with you. And I'm like, okay. So normally, yes, that sounds a bit weird, sounds a bit kooky, sounds a bit crazy, sounds a little bit off your rocker. But I'm so obsessed with my dream world, I was like, okay, maybe that makes sense. Maybe we do this night school, and sure, cool, love it, let's do it. And so I, of course, didn't remember night school, but it just intrigued me that she kind of worked with dreams in this way. I didn't really ask too many questions, but it just kind of was in the back of my mind. And then it was November 2017 that I actually went to Egypt. And I went with a spiritual teacher on a sacred site tour and retreat to Egypt. And that is when everything changed when it came to the dream world. And that is when I remembered night school for the first time. And so that was really cool because I started to not just be lucid, but even more conscious in my dream world. And I started to remember like who I was in the dream world. So I could literally, there was like this connection with my consciousness in a new way that I would bring into the dream world. So I hope that makes sense. And then later on in the trip in Egypt, we went to this temple, Hatshepsut's temple, and it is in the Valley of the Kings. And my teacher kind of pulled me aside and she said, Holly, did you know that there used to be these oracles that used to work here? And they used to work for Hatshepsut, and they would work for her. She was the only female pharaoh that reigned in Egypt, so that was pretty cool. So that's a little side note if you want to know who Hatshepsut is. She was the only female pharaoh, and she had these oracles who worked for her, and they would go into the dream world. But what they would do in the dream world is they would actually somehow, like the movie Inception, they would go into the minds of the enemy and ask them and discover like what their plans were to try and overthrow Hatshepsut. So then they would get all the plans and all the information, all the strategies that they were gonna do, and they would wake up and then they would tell Hatshepsut, they would tell the politicians and priests, all of those people at the time who were working for Hatshepsut to maintain her reign. And that is one of the reasons why Hatshepsut actually reigned for so long. So my teacher told me this when we were at the temple of Hatshepsut, and I was like, wow, that is so cool. And she didn't tell me that that's what I did, nothing like that. She just literally told me the story. She likes to like plant seeds with me. So this was a seed that she planted with me. So after Egypt, like I said, my dreams woke up in a new way, and I started to be conscious and move through the dream world in a different way. Like I would actually go levels deep in a dream. Like I would have a dream in my dream in my dream, and I would like wake up at these different consciousness levels or dimensions, whatever you want to call them, in my dream. So that was really interesting. So the dream world after Egypt, really, like, it was like I stepped through this portal and my dreams just exploded. So 6 months after Egypt, I got this reading by this lady named Agape. She is an Akashic record reader, and I've never talked to her before. She didn't know any information about me other than my birthday and my full name, and then I gave her like my parents' name. But this was when we were on the call, so I didn't give her any of that before. We did this long distance Skype session, and she was like, okay, what do you want to know? And I just said, well, just tell me what my guides want me to know. And for those of you who don't know what an Akashic record reading is, essentially it's kind of like a past life reading. The Akasha is basically your soul's records from the past, as well as all potential possibilities for the future. So it goes both ways. And I asked her, what do my guides want me to know? And she said, well, there was this life that you had when you were in Egypt and you were an oracle, and you worked for the pharaoh, and you got all these messages to help her stay in power. And she literally said, word for word, what my teacher described to me when I was in Egypt at Hatshepsut's temple. My mind blew. I was like, what are the chances of that? That is so crazy. And then she also told me that I was an oracle at Delphi, which my teacher has since told me that I was an oracle at Delphi too. So this whole oracle theme has just been in my life for lifetimes. Still, I didn't really know how to navigate my dream world. I was just like, okay, cool, I was an oracle, but like, what do I do with that now in this lifetime? Then I listened to this podcast with Connie Kaplan, and she's a big dreamer. She dreams as a spiritual practice, and I was like, wow, I have to listen to this podcast. And it's really interesting because she uses her dreams in the sense of dreaming collectively. When we go into the dream world, we all dream collectively as to the energy and the consciousness that's kind of going on the planet and with humanity at the time. So she looks at her dreams collectively, not as an individual. And I was always looking at my dreams from, what does this dream mean to me? And so I thought that shift in like the collective perception was really interesting. So I thought I would try it out. So I started actually seeing how that makes sense. How when I go into the dream world, it's not for me specifically, it is for the collective. It's collective wisdom, it's collective universal knowledge. And so that was the birth of Dream Oracle messages that I've been sharing on my Instagram and Facebook pages, and now sharing on YouTube. And then my husband's mom one day called me up and was like, hey, can you go into the dream world and get a message for me? I have some questions. And I was like, I don't know if I can do that, but I would love to try because that sounds really cool. And let's see if I can get a message. That night, I went to sleep. I had her questions in mind. I went into the dream world, and it was really crazy because I literally was like this conductor. And I remember being in the dream world, and I used like my arms, and I was kind of swirling my arms like this, and I was like, okay, asking her a question, and then I like shot something up on the screen, which was the dream. And then I entered into that dream to get her question answered, and I got the answer. I was like, that is so crazy. So I'm like, okay, I got the answer. I got the answer for my mother-in-law. And then I closed that dream down, and then I literally turned this way, and I opened up another dream, went into that dream and got more answers for her. And then I realized, I woke up and I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy. I can actually do this. And so I tested it. I started doing dream oracle readings for friends and other family, and just practicing and seeing if I could actually do it. It is shocking because I can, and I can get information. Now I work with people I don't know, with my clients, and I get messages that I have no idea how I know them, but I know how I know them because it's from the universal wisdom and my connection with spirit in the dream world. So I have this interesting ability to channel and connect with spirit and ask your questions, as well as get messages for the collective. So that is how I discovered that I'm a dream oracle, and how I discovered this very unique gift. But I must say that I don't think it's that unique of a gift. I think that there's other dream oracles out there, and maybe I'm talking to you. Maybe you are a dream oracle. Comment below if you think you might be one. Comment below and let me know if you remember your dreams. I would love to know where you're at, what kind of relationship you have with your dreams, and see if you might be another dream oracle. Or if you know any other dream oracles, let me know, because I haven't come across any and I would love an introduction. So anyways, if you want to work with me one-on-one and have me go into the dream world for you and get your questions answered, you can go to my website, hollyemerson.com. I will drop the link below in the description, and it should also be on the screen here. Thank you so much for watching. I do new videos every Tuesday.